one hand, you have our congressional representative, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who can't, she can't quiver, can't bow at the altar of, the Israel lobby, but almost as hard in retrospect as RFK is doing. And so they had this huge dust up, at the end of last week. We have a video that we're going to play now, and we're going to comment on it. So hang tight, everybody. This should be very entertaining.
Last week, you floated a baseless conspiracy theory that the coronavirus was bioengineered to target Caucasians and Black people, but to spare Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese people. Mr. Kennedy, your bizarre, unproven claim echoes that same historic slander of labeling Jews and Chinese people as a race, and that Jews, and in this case Chinese people, somehow managed to avoid a deadly illness that targets other groups for death. You do see that, yes or no?
You're misstating.
No. I quoted what you said earlier, and it is directly what you said. So just ask me yes or no.
I was describing an NIH-funded study.
No, you didn't cite any.
I was describing an NIH-funded study by Cleveland Clinic scientists.
Reclaiming my time. You did not.
Something's wrong with frozen.
Published in USC Medical, which is one of...
The time is mine. I'm reclaiming it. Please ask the witness to stop talking.
You asked me a question.
Reclaiming.
Allow me to answer my question.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like about 10 seconds back.
You are slandering me.
A few months ago, Mr. Kennedy, you compared COVID public health policies to barbaric, murderous tactics of Nazi Germany, saying that Jewish people in Nazi Germany had more freedom than Americans facing COVID health restrictions. In hindsight, Mr. Kennedy, do you reject this absurd and deeply hurtful and harmful comparison, or do you still stand by it?
Congressman, what you are saying is a lie.
That you said it.
I did not. I never contained.
Okay.
I never, ever
Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to enter into the record when Mr. Kennedy said that. I reclaim my time. In discussing COVID public health measures, you made light of the genocide against Jewish people by saying, and I quote, even Hitler's Germany, you could cross the Alps to Switzerland, you could hide in an attic like Anne Frank did. Do you think it was just as hard to wear a mask during COVID as it was to hide under floorboards or false walls so you weren't murdered or dragged to a concentration camp?
Of course not. That's ridiculous.
But that's a comparison that you made.
I did not make that comparison.
Measures taken when discussing efforts to encourage others to get vaccinated for COVID-19, you said Nazis did that in the camps in World War II. They tested vaccines on gypsies and Jews. That was a quote. Like before, you apologized for invoking the Holocaust, saying, quote, to the extent my remarks caused hurt, I am truly and deeply sorry. These are not real statements of contrition or remorse. They are passive-aggressive non-apologies that blame the listener for reacting to the lie you just spread.
My, oh my, oh my. Who wants to take this first? Because this is not my territory.
I'm so tired of her. I mean, look, Norman, you're older than me. You've been around longer than me. But the anti-Semitism card is getting very old regarding everything.
Well, whenever I see Debbie Wasserman Schultz, I think of that Jackson Browne song, which you don't know, titled If I Had a Rocket Launcher. Now, I won't go further on that particular point, but I think you can figure out where I'm headed. One of the things that really strikes me about Debbie Wasserman Schultz is her claim to fame is because of Barack Obama. Obama appointed her the head of the DNC, and even as she was exposed as a complete out-and-out crook for trying to rig the Democratic primary in order to stop Bernie Sanders, Obama still rose to her defense, and he made a statement that we have Debbie Wasserman Schultz's back. She's such a disgusting, despicable, low-life creature, something that crawled out of a drain pipe or a sewer. First of all, the idea of her playing the anti-Semitism card. I'm wondering, Debbie, where have you been as the United States has poured over $100 billion into an army that's chock full of Nazis? Avowed Nazis, proud Nazis. They wear the swastika to battle. Isn't that a concern of yours? If you're so wedded to the lessons of the Holocaust, so anguished and tormented by what happened to the Jewish people, then why are you arming avowed, out-and-out Nazis in Ukraine? Then, You know,
please.
the idea, we're put in a very peculiar position of having to choose between RFK and Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Right? I don't even, like, he is such a Zionist, and she's calling him an anti-Semite.
I know. You've sort of like gone down Alice's rabbit hole when you start here. RFK is proclaiming that he's more pro-Israel than any other member of Congress. And now you have to choose between them, because Debbie Wasserman Schultz, these are just shows to get her money, to get her paid from AIPAC. Mm-hmm. She's such a repulsive lowlife, and on top of that, just so stupid. So stupid. At least I'll credit RFK. There are some wheels turning upstairs when he speaks on subjects. On the subject of vaccines, you can agree with him or disagree with him, but he's knowledgeable. There's no question. When he says I cited an NIH study, in fact, he did cite an NIH study. He's actually read something. What do you get from Debbie Wasserman Schultz? You get some AIPAC algorithm. She's just a machine, and an awfully stupid one at that, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, as you like to point out, Jen, she's not very nice.
No, the problem is this, okay? Whether or not I agreed with her or liked her or whatever, I find that as my representative, the way that she speaks to people is reprehensible. She has somebody sitting in front of her voluntarily. This isn't some sort of criminal case where somebody's subpoenaed to be there, whether it's Matt Taibbi or RFK sitting there, and she's so vile how she talks to them. And I'm thinking, first of all, this is my employee, and I'm sorry that she's speaking to you out of line like this. But also I think, and we've talked about this a lot, she to me is one of the reasons why people might be anti-Semitic. Because when I look at her and I hear her like, proclaiming my
Totally agree.
I mean, it doesn't help. And I feel like she absolutely represents the worst of us. And yet she is in such a position to represent us at all. And it's really frustrating.
Somebody ought to buy her a T-shirt that reads anti-Semitic trigger.
I can't remember who it was who said it the other day. I can't remember which, I think it was a podcast, but the line was, our friends at Due Dissonance, Keaton and Russell. Russell said specific, and he's Jewish and he lives in New York as well. And he specifically said, RFK could never invoke anti-Semitism in any capacity the way that Debbie Wasserman Schultz does. His obsession with Israel will never compare to how she comes off to the general public in the most negative Jewish stereotypes that you could possibly think of. And she welcomes it the second she has an opportunity to grandstand for the cameras. She is one of the quickest people who gets there. She's like Pelosi.
I told you, sometimes people recoil at simple explanations. They rather have complex ones. It makes you seem more erudite and a more profound thinker. But in her case, it's just money. She sends the tape to her AIPAC slave masters, and then she gets her check. That's it.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.